good morning on this clear and cold Wednesday morning. Okay, it's a little bit later this morning. I did actually get started, but not here at the model table. I was busy in the computer room. And last night I stayed at the editing and stuff like that until it was quite late. And what happened is just about the time I was going to give up. Well, in the rollback, you're going to come to a place where I mentioned that one of the viewers, whose name was Ricky, mentioned that he was wondering what I thought of the new computer. And you know how I like to take the little comment and have it drop down, and when it hits the bottom of the screen, it goes thunk? Well, the thunk worked, but every time I would drag Ricky's comment into the program, it would Power Director would, or not Power Director, but Premiere Pro would freeze up. Remove the comment, it was fine. And so I was trying to figure out what went wrong there, and I still haven't figured out what the problem is. I don't know if I've got a glitch in the program or what. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So Ricky, I apologize. Everybody else, I dropped their comment down and yours isn't. Well, don't take it personal, please. I just couldn't get it to work. Anyway, in order to get to our rollback, so we can understand how we got to this place, and by the way, there's it was sort of a comedy of errors. There was one shot I took that I didn't have the camera focused. Oh man. Well, they can't all be good, right? If you want to scroll through the rollback and get onto it, maybe I'll mention where the end of the rollback is, so you can just sort of scrub ahead and get it over with. Anyway, let's get it over with. Okay, we are pretty much exactly where we left off at the end of yesterday's episode, number 1107. And we were talking about if I was to spread these apart a little bit here, the ends, just spread them out, maybe just a millimeter, then I could wedge them in between the bottom of the top wing and the top of the bottom wing. Now, I know that if I do that, then they're going to be that's going to make them just a little shorter, and they won't quite reach, I don't think, to where these struts are, which is probably where they would have actually gone into. One thing is for sure, they would have fastened into the spar of each one of these wings. In all likelihood, this wing had a main spar, which would be probably 25% of the way back from the leading edge, and then it would have had a secondary spar, a rear spar, which would have been probably a third of the way back and would have been much more lighter duty. And these would have definitely fastened in somehow to the main spar on both of these wings. Now, my thinking originally was that I just sort of take it and just sort of, just pry it apart. I mean, that's what you kind of think you'd want to do, but I'm thinking maybe I can't do that very delicately. And all I want to do is just take them and spread them maybe a millimeter, so that they're a millimeter wider apart than they are right now. This photo etch, it pretty much stays. When you bend it, it doesn't spring back. I don't know what the word is for unspringy. I'm sure the train man Dave knows. He's the metal expert in this group, as far as I know. So what word would be soft? Would you call the metal soft? Anyway, so now if I was to anneal it right there in the center, just a little bit, like with a cigarette lighter, that would also make it, I guess, softer, and then it would stay in place. But like I say, photo etch generally does stay in place pretty good. And I'm afraid that being as that this is so thin, I could possibly, before I had a chance to pull the flame away, I could possibly burn right through. Yeah, so let's just lay it down on something, and I could hold it down probably with my finger, and then just pull this apart and just watch, you know, like it does have a tendency to want to spring back. You know what, I should put the macro lens on so that you can see better. Okay, so we're going to want to hold this one down and bend this one out like that. At first I thought I could use Mr. T's poking device here, and but it's kind of rounded, and if I don't know, can I press on here? Later I thought maybe I could use this alligator clip, because you notice it's perfectly flat all the way along, and I know your perspective is bad and you can't maybe see what I'm trying to do here, but this is not going to press down too badly as long as okay, now I'm not pushing real hard, because I will end up making a concave bend sort of in it there. Now maybe I'll take the rubber protective thing off of here. Sorry about all the shaking. Now I'm going to have to remember, see right now I pull a little bit out, and I have to remember where it comes back to. You know what, maybe tweezers would be better. Oh, now it slipped out. Oh, Ron. Well, all right. Back to Mr. T's poking device then. Very carefully here. No, that doesn't want to work. I wonder if I'm using the wrong kind of tweezers. Okay, I do believe I've bent it out a little bit. Anyway, you get the idea. So I'm going to sort of just eyeball it. I'm going to have to do this off camera. I can't get myself over top of it the way I'd like to. Okay, here's what's happened. Besides, a lot of time has passed. I did spread this apart a little bit, and oh, wouldn't you know it? Wouldn't you know it? Yes, try not to bend it, getting it out of there. All right, that's the way you want to be. Okay, now I got to straighten everything out again. I don't like to do retakes, so we'll just muddle through this here. Okay, so the idea is, you're probably going to think I deliberately did that when you find out what I'm going to do next here. I have made this up. I've attached a thread to it, and the idea being that, and I haven't tried this, so I don't know if it's going to fit or not fit. It might be too big, but I don't think so. Okay, so if we put that piece of card on there like that, then this won't fall through, okay? And the idea of having the thread on it is because when I pull on the thread, let's see, you know what? I think I'm going to have to spread those apart even more yet. They're not going to wedge in place. Maybe this, I can sort of see where this is going to work. You know, there's a bit of a, you can't see it from your perspective, but there's a bit of a groove all the way along there. And there might also be one on the bottom of the top wing here that this could just sort of fit in. Okay, I'm just going to have to push stop here and spread this apart even more. Okay, get different tweezers here. Those flat ones were the ones that I used for spreading this. Okay, now my thinking is if I can kind of get it to sort of lock in place there. Let me move in a little bit more. Okay, now when I pull on this thread, it'll be a lot more gentle than if I was to try and grab hold of it and then pull it with the tweezers. Now I'm hoping it's gonna want to stay in place. Is this down as far as it'll go? You know what? Being as, like I was thinking I'd have to remove the card because I would glue glue this thing to it. But you know what? It might be a good idea to just sort of glue the, what's wrong with you, Ron? You keep poking at it. And it's not quite tight enough here, though, is it? Ooh. I'm going to have to redo this. I can just hear the mouse clicks all over the world going on to somebody else's build. And I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you. Okay, now maybe I'll move this card right up to the top and then try and see, I'm trying to wedge it in. I'm sure you can see what I'm trying to do here. I think I told Lori that I found this difficult. Remember Lori from Eliminator Hobby? Yeah, okay. Now, don't poke at it. The bottom two are in the right place. Now, the CA should still be good here. Oh. Well, I sort of got it back. Like I say, you can't see the groove that's in the wing there. Okay, just put a little bit on here. I should have the macro lens on, but I'm sure you can see it. If I can see it with my glasses here, you should be able to see it. Okay, now let's let that cure. Then we can pull the card out and put the get the top wing adhered. Don't poke at it. Okay, I guess about 5 minutes has passed here, and I was thinking maybe I could just put a little bit of curing agent on here. It's actually quite late. There, that should sort of, that'll speed things up a little bit. Yeah, it's actually quite late. I got a comment from one of the viewers. I think it was Ricky, if I'm not mistaken. And Ricky wanted to know how happy I was with the new computer. So I thought, I've never done a test. I've never tested it out, fairly from the old one to the new one. So I did. I spent a good 2 hours, I guess, this evening. So right now it's 8:27 in the evening. Yeah. Well, can I pull the card out, do you think? Wonder if that is hard, or is it still sort of like jelly? I should put the macro lens on. What's the matter with me? Okay, now we were going to poke this and see if it seemed soft. No, I think we're probably safe to pull our card out now. So I know you can't see it, but what I'm doing is I'm grabbing the thread here And I'm going to slowly pull this out. That was slowly. Okay, we got it. Now, we'll try and bend this one up into place here. Or should we be waiting for morning and let those cure really good? Oh, we should have waited for the morning. Oh, now I gotta reglue it. Yep. There. Let's just let that cure naturally. Maybe I should reinforce the other one too, even though it probably doesn't need it. It's got it whether it needs it or not. And those blobs of glue that look humongous, you won't even see them. Yep, even if you look. If you remember, if you come over and look at this thing and you remember, oh yeah, that looked like a big glob of glue there, and you try and see it, you're not going to see it. Okay, we'll see you in the morning. Okay, I notice that my voice is going right now, so I'm hoping I'm going to be able to get through this. Now, you know how I like to do everything in perspective, or show perspective. And, well, sometimes when you can see something done in a graph, it makes a little bit more sense than having a whole bunch of numbers and statistics thrown at you. So anyway, about do I like the new computer? Well, yeah, I do. And I thought, how can I actually check to see, what the difference is in speed, And so what I did was I took an actual length of video, and I used the old camera because I knew that both computers could handle the files from the old camera. I mean, the old computer, it won't handle the high-end files at all, so you can't really compare. So I took 10 files totaling 1,436 seconds altogether and just put them end to end, didn't alter them in any way. And this is how long they were in actual length. But to process them out into a video, it took the old computer this long. It took the new computer only this long. Then later on I thought, I wonder how long it would have taken Adobe Premiere Pro to have rendered it out. And it was this long. So I got to thinking, well, maybe the Adobe wasn't as good a quality. But when I checked, it was actually almost twice as good. In other words, the bit rate and everything was it was really good. So yeah, Adobe Premiere Pro is the way to go. But anyway, these two right here, they're the ones that compare the speed of the two computers, because they were both done in Power Director. All the settings were the same. It was as fair as I could do it. Am I happy with the new computer? You betcha. Now you know how I like to be honest in my videos, and I can't honestly say that there hasn't been any problems. I'm guessing that since I've had it now for 4 weeks, probably 4 or 5 times when I booted it up, I didn't have any of my icons on the desktop. There's absolutely nothing. It was just black, everything was black, except down here in the bottom right-hand corner, there was options to either shut down, restart, and forget what the third one was. Maybe sleep. Anyway, I don't know what that was all about. I couldn't think of what I had done different when I shut it down just before, the time before. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, like I said, I'm happy. If anybody knows why sometimes you boot it up, you don't have your icons on the desktop, you could let me know. Oh, speaking of booting up, it boots up very quick. I'm guessing about 10 seconds. Now, I later did time it, and it was actually 27 seconds, not 10. I guess it seemed like only 10 seconds after the old computer. Anyway, it was 27 seconds from the time I would push the power button until I could double click on an icon and the application would come up. Okay, it is morning, but just barely morning. And as you can see, I got them on. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it. It could have been better, that's for sure. I know that. But at least they're on. And got a comment from Jason this morning, and he was saying that if I wanted to paint this in sort of pre-war colors, or if I was going to have the hull, or the ship rather, in gray, which I probably am, different shades of gray, because I won't be doing the camo thing. Yeah, he thought that probably silver would be good, and I think that's probably what I'm going to do. I'm going to spray it silver. It's only going to be basically seen from the top, and then I'll paint it silver. Some of the windows may be something to indicate glass, if I can. They're pretty small, but and the motor in the back here, that'll be black. The cylinders will be black. The propeller, I never did find out if it was a wood propeller or a metal propeller. I thought it was metal, but it could have been wood. It's not a big deal. It's going to be basically silver. And our cross members are going to show up. At least at arm's length, it's going to look good. You're looking at it a lot closer right now, and a lot sharper right now than what most people are going to see it. Okay, I haven't tried this yet. But you'll notice there's you might call it a little pin. It has to go into a hole at the end of the shaft there. I'm going to turn this over. Okay. Pretty sure it's supposed to go like this. Or is it the other way? Yeah, both sides have what you might call a little peg. Just let me look at this thing here. What is the most likely? Okay, I do believe it's supposed to go this way. Yeah. Now, once it's glued in place, we can't rotate it around. So, how would we have it so that maybe it's just off just a little bit, which is the most natural way for a propeller like this to end up being, unless you were like my dad. My dad used to have this thing about, after he tied the aircraft down, he would take and move the propeller so it was horizontal to the wings, because he thought it looked better. I can still remember him doing that. I would think probably maybe off just a little bit, so it looks like it, because when they would shut the engine down, and it would coast to a stop, you might say, the propeller would never stop perfectly horizontal or vertical. I don't know I think just off would be a little bit more natural. Yeah. Now I know from your perspective you can't really see it. I'm looking straight down on it. Okay, let's put the macro lens on and see if we can make a fool of myself here. Okay, I'm going to be using the quick setting here. Make sure it's open first. Yeah, it is. Try not to bump it, Ron. Try not to bump it. And I dropped the propeller, but I know where it is. Okay. Okay, I'd like to be able to just push it down just a little if I... Oh, come on. No, maybe I'll just leave it. I'll probably make it worse. Does it look straight? No, it's not. It's hard to. Yeah, it looks a little bit straighter. I'm going to look at it the other way, so I want it straight with the engine. Somebody was mentioning how these engines were offset. I think it was one of the viewers said his uncle actually flew one of these. I forget who it was that told me. I think it was Ian or Robert. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Actually flew one of these things, and the engine was offset to counteract the torque from the plane, from the engine. It was actually, the engine was I think 700 and something horsepower engine. It was a powerful motor. And at full throttle, I can imagine there would have been a fair amount of torque. I'm guessing a low RPM engine like that, it could have been, 750 horse. It probably had, I'm guessing, upwards of 2,000 foot-pounds of torque. Maybe that's a little high. It would have been quite a bit. It was a low RPM engine, not a high RPM engine, so the torque would have been pretty high to be able to produce that much horsepower. That's my theory. I could be wrong, but I don't think so. Oops. I'm always afraid of breaking them by squeezing too hard. Alright. Next we have the wheels. Or I guess you would call it the landing gear. But that's going to have to wait until tomorrow. Yeah, I don't know what happened yesterday, but yesterday's episode for some reason took almost 5 hours to kick out of low res and get into 4K. I think it stayed at about 360p for, the longest time. Anyway, it eventually made it. Unfortunately, those people who like to watch, as soon as the episodes are ready, as soon as it posts, you'd like to watch it in 4K right away, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. And all being well, we'll see you tomorrow.